Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? We got a great show today for you guys. We got a great show. How you guys doing? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Welcome in. Let's give y'all know the process. Let's give it a few minutes. Let's allow everybody to come on in here today. And then we'll get started. Let's give it a few minutes. It's a little bit dark today outside, so just trying to work on the lighting here and get it a little bit brighter today. So, excuse me, kind of dealing with a cough here. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? I see we're going to get a full house again today. How you guys doing? Welcome in, Lorenzo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are. Welcome in, welcome in. We got a fun show. We like to do these previews for before these games, and then we're going to do today we're going to do a preview for Game 5, and then we're also going to do a recap tomorrow. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about the Lakers. Just want to touch on that a little bit. Also say what's good to Marco. Marco's also in here with you guys. So say what's good to Marco while we wait for everybody to come on in here. Marco is in here. So I'm going to touch a little bit on how you doing, Mark? I'm going to touch a little bit on that Lakers game in the beginning of this live, and then we'll get into the Clippers game for tomorrow. Now we also have a video coming out later this evening on our channel, kind of going a little bit more in depth on what's going on with the Lakers. So I want you guys to kind of stay tuned for that because we got that coming out a little bit later. So let's just give everybody a few minutes here to catch up to this live, and then we'll get started. So we give everybody a chance to come on in here. So Lakers and 10. Yeah, no. I'm going to get into that. Let's just allow everybody some time to get in here before we get started. Let's give it a few minutes. It's a little bit dark outside today. It's rainy, but yeah. I also noticed some of you guys wonder why do we change our backgrounds from this background to that background when we do lives. That's just how it works sometimes. So do not be alarmed. We are the same Dreamers Pro, so do not be alarmed. A couple Laker fans, they're depressed. You know some Laker fans that are depressed? No, man. Don't worry. We're going to get into that in a second. Let's give it about another 2 minutes before we get started so people don't come in and say, hey, I didn't get the notification and all of this stuff. So let's give everyone a chance. Yeah, it's about 3 minutes. Let's give it another 2 minutes. Hey, appreciate that, Gio. We appreciate that. There's some people that don't feel that way, but that's you too. That's the internet for you. So everyone is entitled to their opinion. Did I see Snoop Dogg's rant? You know what? I didn't see it. And I have no intention of watching it. I kind of stumbled on some of the ones in the past of him ranting. I guess you could say he's a fan. He's a fan and he wants more out of his team. Those are my only thoughts on that. So let's give it about another minute or so. Hey, dude, Sadan, how you doing? Welcome in. We're going to wait for everybody to come in, and then we'll get it started. I'm seeing some of your comments. Don't worry, I'm going to get to it. Let's just wait for people to come in here before we get started. Snoop is supporting the Clippers? No way. I don't think Snoop Dogg will support the Clippers. You know, it's funny. While we wait for people, let's give it about another minute. Hey, how you doing, OG Tees? How you doing? You know, it's funny. Being from the East Coast, growing up in New York, you know, I find it, I know New Yorkers generally support the Knicks, but I know New Yorkers will also support Brooklyn, the Nets. So I don't really understand why people out there in California wouldn't support the Clippers, even if the Lakers aren't doing well. I don't understand. Maybe the people from the West Coast, you guys understand why that is. I have no idea. I mean, they're from the same city, so I don't know. That's for them to understand. I don't get that part. I can understand being more excited about a certain team. Like people are more in New York and stuff, they're more excited if the Knicks do well, but they're going to support the Brooklyn Nets. It's like at least one team from the state is going to be doing well, so they're going to throw their support. I mean, Brooklyn is in New York, so they're going to support them. So I don't really get the whole thing about Lakers and Clippers fans, but who knows? I'm not from there, so I don't know. Let's give it another 30 seconds and we'll get started. Let's just give it another 30 seconds and we'll get started. I don't understand. Last time I checked, they're both in the same city. So, hey, how you doing, Tori? Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's give it 10 more seconds and we'll get started. 10 more seconds and we will get started. So we're giving everybody enough of a chance. And then whoever will catch up later on. Okay. So let's get it going, guys. Let's get it going. Okay. Real quick, as we usually do. So we're going to be live chatting tonight for the game. What is it? The Clippers versus Mavericks game 5. We're going to be live chatting tonight about that game. Or during that game, rather. If you guys want to be a part of that, for the new people on the channel, I know we have a lot of new people that are on our channel. Make sure you guys check out Dreamers Pro Max. It's an online sports community that we created here at Dreamers Pro. You can chat live during games, talk about basketball content topics and other cool stuff. If you guys are interested in that, Marco's going to link that in the comment section. You guys can go and check that out and sign up and get 7 days of access. So you guys can definitely check that out. We're going to link that there. So if you guys want to live chat before the game, make sure you go ahead and do that. Also, we would recommend, if you want to sign up a few hours before the game, just in case you have any issues with signing up or anything like that. Make sure you sign up in time. If the game is starting at 9 o'clock, do not sign up at 8:59 and then have some issues and then say, I don't know what's going on. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up on that so you guys can kind of do that. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And also be on the lookout. Yes, Nene, I saw you on there. Yes, you were on there. Yeah. It's going to be even more. It's going to be rocking even more tonight with this game. And also be on the lookout for the other video that we have coming out later on today on the channel. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, anyway. Let me get into this video. So, first of all, I was just going to do a general. I was just going to do a general kind of preview to Game 5. That's initially what I had. That's initially what I had in mind. So, I was watching some of that Laker game, and I was watching the game, and I was watching the first quarter, and LeBron and these guys look pretty good. But we got a video coming out about that later. And then quickly, that thing got out of hand, right? And I stopped watching after the first half. I'm like, this is a beatdown that's taking place here. So all of us obviously went over to that Portland-Denver game. So I was like, okay, we're going to touch on the Lakers today. We're going to do a video dedicated to them. But then I said, you know what? Let me see what some of these news channels are, the main media outlets, some of the things that they've been saying about this Laker loss. And let me tell you, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Lakers are in trouble. That's all I want to say. I'm not going to go too far into it, but this is real. I said it before and I'll say it again. I picked the Lakers to go into this series and win in 6. But there's one thing that you got to understand. The Phoenix Suns are not afraid of the Lakers. They're not. Yesterday, they came out and hit the Lakers early in the mouth, and they never looked back. They never looked back. LeBron tried. He looked like he was getting good. At the end of the first half, he was 3 of 10. It was a beatdown. But that's not the part I really want to focus on. Because anybody can lose a game. You know who I want to focus on for a quick moment? I want to focus on Nick Wright. So, I do my best not to listen to as much as the stuff that Nick Wright says. You guys that have been on this channel, we published a video in 2019, December 2019. That video now has about 40,000 views. Since then, I understood that Nick Wright, some of the points that he makes about basketball are questionable. Since then, there's some people that say, oh, you only have something to say about Shannon Sharp. Shut. Bro, do your research, son. You got 900 videos on our channel. What are you talking about? We talked about Nick Wright. And Nick Wright apparently going into game 5 without LeBron James, with I think with the knowledge of Anthony Davis not playing, apparently Nick Wright said that the Lakers are going to win easily. So I saw Nick Wright today. And for the first time, he came out, he hit his face, and I was just sitting there laughing. I was just sitting there laughing to myself. And at the end of his entire point, he goes, oh, the Lakers are going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. They're going to be just fine because after all, they're the Lakers, so everything is going to be fine, right? Because they're the Lakers. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys something. There's something that's, I think the reason a lot of people feel so confident about the Lakers have nothing to do with the fact of whether or not they're a good team or not. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact of the story you've been told. That's what all of this is about. That's what all of this is about. You've been given a story. You've been spoon-fed this story for months, weeks, years, and now the results are flying in the face of the story you've been told. The Lakers are in deep trouble. It's not one of those things, oh, they're going to be fine. No, they're not. They're not. If this were the Clippers, they would say the sky is falling. They would say the sky is falling if this was happening to the Clippers. Literally. Nick Wright came out there and said, after the Clippers won game 4, you know what he said? The Clippers are in trouble. Who says that? Like, who do you know that says stuff like this? Who do you know who says stuff like this? Guys, the Lakers are in trouble. Time to wake up. They are in trouble. The Phoenix Suns, they're not like, again, a lot of people feel like this is magic. The Phoenix Suns are a real team. They're a real basketball team. These guys, like the game that you saw last night really happened. Like it really happened. It really happened. So the Lakers are in trouble. Then, because I told you, I stopped paying attention to that game. I heard something that's been going around the media. Anthony Street Clothes Davis? What? Yo. Anthony Street Clothes Davis? Yo. Yo, I didn't even know Charles Barkley said that until I just watched the clip of him saying it when Shaq was like, hey, Chuck, what you call Anthony Davis? Anthony Street Clothes Davis. Yo, do you know how funny that is? Y'all know how funny that is, man. They calling this dude Anthony Street Clothes Davis. I thought that was pretty funny. I had to touch on it. I didn't actually see him say it because I think he said it at halftime, but I actually saw a clip of him say it just now recently when he did say it. And one final thing. No, two final things before we get into the analysis of this video, of this game. Two things I want to touch on real quick. The first thing I want to touch on, and I'm trying not to laugh, but I got to laugh. Yo, what happened to Andre Drummond, Kareem Drummond? What happened to Andre Drummond? What happened to Andre Drummond? What happened to Andre Drummond? Do y'all know Andre Drummond scored 7 points last night and had a plus minus of -8? Do y'all know that? Andre Drummond. Do y'all remember when Shannon Sharp, when Nick Wright, when who else with? Probably Chris Broussard, when Stephen A. Smith, and all of these experts came out there and saying, oh, Andre Drummond, Kareem Drummond, watch out what you're going to see. He leading the league in rebounds. He leading the league in rebounds. Bad teams look good because they're in the bubble. Hey, a lot of people are going to start talking about the bubble. Good point, Candace. Bubble comments they're going to be coming down the turnpike very, very soon. That train is not going to be late, ladies and gentlemen. They were sitting here hyping up this Andre Drummond thing. And what did I tell you guys months before? I told you that Andre Drummond is not the player that the Lakers needed. They needed more offense. The Lakers are not a very good three-point shooting team to begin with. I said that he's going to hurt their spacing. Oh, no. You a Laker hater. Lakers in 2. Lakers in 1. Lakers in 0. Lakers in 2. Lakers in 1. That's what I was hearing. Most of these people that were feeling this way were being hyped up by the machine because Shannon Sharp said so, because so many people are talking, then he must be good. No. I said it then, and I'm going to say it now. He played with the Detroit Pistons, where there were no expectations for him. You now airdrop him to the Lakers, and you're talking about championship or bust, and you're expecting what? For him to turn into Hakeem Olajuwon? And people actually thought that, oh, he's good. Now look what you got. You got exactly what you had the whole time. I've heard people say the Clippers said first it was Doc Rivers, now it's Ty Lue. Well, Montrezl Harrell, I could say first it was Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the Clippers. Now it's the Lakers. Where's Montrezl Harrell? Where is Montrezl Harrell? Where is he? Where is he? I haven't seen this dude. So the Lakers are in trouble. And the final thing I want to say before we get into our analysis, I see we have people slowly trickling in. The final thing I want to say, y'all know energy is a real thing, right? Y'all know energy is real. You can't see it, but you can feel it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. It's like when somebody walks in the room and their energy's off, you feel it. You feel something change in the room, but you don't know what it is. Energy's real. Y'all know that. Cool. Do you know what I've been feeling ever since the Lakers lost last night? You know what I've been feeling? Maybe it's just me. I get the sense that all of Lakers Nation is putting all of their animosity and anger and despair and hate towards the Clippers tonight for Game 5. I can feel Laker Nation wanting so bad for the Clippers to lose tonight. You can feel it in the air. Because, as they say, misery loves company. That's as they say, misery loves company. Can you imagine the Clippers going out of round 1, the Lakers losing in round 1? Do you know what that's going to do to the psyche of some Laker fans? Do you know the effect that's going to have when you could just support them to begin with? Because they're from your same city. The Lakers and the Clippers play in the same city, guys. Just support them. But that's not going to happen. Anyway, so that's the final thing I wanted to say about this game. And now let's get into this. Let's get into the preview for this game. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Mavs and Clippers in Game 5. So listen, the Mavs in the first 2 games of this series, they took advantage of the Clippers when the Clippers went big. They took advantage of them. It was something I was saying the entire time. I said that the Clippers, after Game 1, they should have a lineup change. This is what I said. I said the lineup that they're using right now is simply too big and it's too slow. Luka Doncic was searching. He was searching for Zubac and Patrick Beverley in that lineup. The Clippers played that entire Game 1. The Dallas Mavericks shot like what seemed like 200% from the three-point line. It looked like they wouldn't miss. Luka Doncic looked like he would never miss a shot again from what I was seeing. I had never seen anything like that where a team was so hot from 3. I think one game Tim Hardaway Jr. hit something like 3 3-pointers. I mean, excuse me, 5 or 6 3-pointers. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So after game one, we sat back and I looked at what happened and I said, wait a minute. The reason that the Dallas Mavericks are shooting so well from the perimeter is because of the spacing. They had very good spacing, and the Clippers the entire time were scrambling on defense the entire time. Why were they scrambling? Because the moment Luka would get that switch and he would get Zubac on him, the defense was put into jeopardy because the defenders would always, the help defenders will always come and look to help out Zoo. And the minute they help out Zoo, if Luka made the right read, these guys were hitting wide open 3-pointers and tearing the game open. Literally, that's what was happening. The Clippers defense was being shredded to bits. To bits. So I sat up here and I complained. I said, why is Ty Lue not going small? You guys remember this. I had said this is turned into a broken record. I said it. I said he needs to go small because Luka is taking advantage of them. And given the fact that the Clippers want to switch, which seems to be their defensive strategy to switch everything, Luka would just keep running screens until he got to Zubac, and that would be the guy that would be the guy he would take advantage of. Even in game 3, when the Dallas Mavericks jumped out to a 30-11 point lead, if you go back and look at the first quarter highlights, you will see that the majority of the shots that Luka Doncic hit were on the switch on Zubac. Zubac was just not skilled enough to get in his airspace to contest his shot for whatever reason. So what did Ty Lue do in game 3? He finally listened to himself or his coaching staff or made a concession. And what did he do? With 3.5 minutes into the first quarter, Ty Lue ended up taking out Ivica Zubac out of the game. And then from that point forward, they went small. And I think they ended up finishing the quarter 34-30 or something like that. Clippers ended up making it competitive. Then they had to fight the entire game. Why? Because the Mavs already had the momentum. So the Clippers had to find a way to break the momentum of the Dallas Mavericks, which was very hard because in sports, momentum is a real thing. We all know this. You can't touch it, but you can feel it. Momentum is a real thing. They were able to kind of go back and forth with them. Ultimately, they ended up coming back winning game 3. Then I said, if the Clippers go small in game 4, they're going to have a shot at winning that game. Some of the people on the comment section, some of these people on Dreamers Pro Max, I said it then. In the beginning of game 4, I said, if the Clippers start the game small, in the first quarter, I texted it out. I said, this game is not going to be close. That's what I said. I said, this won't be a close game. It won't be a close game. And sure enough, the Clippers went out there and beat the Dallas Mavericks, who had put a thumping on them in the first 2 games, beat them by 25 points. And I think the Dallas Mavericks only scored 81 points. And some people thought that, the reason that happened is because the Clippers, all of a sudden, they started taking pride in defense and they got angry and they heard enough of his Luka Doncic's trash talk. Luka Doncic was trash talking all throughout the series. You think they weren't tired of it after the first quarter in game 1? It's just that the personnel they didn't have the right personnel to play the Dallas Mavericks quick enough, because the Dallas Mavericks play with a combination of guards and forwards, something that I said. So they benched Zubac. They started Batum at the 5. Marcus Morris Sr. was at the 4. Was at the 4. Then Kawhi Leonard was at the 3. Paul George was at the 2. And then I think they had Reggie Jackson for spacing, and to keep the Dallas Mavericks defenders honest, and always to keep their defense scrambling if they would have hit them, to keep them honest on the defensive side of the floor. And now, when Luka was searching for the switch, he would either end up on Marcus Morris Sr. or Nicholas Batum or Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. It wasn't the same thing as switching on Ivica Zubac. That's the reason why Luka had so much difficulty scoring in that game. Now, he scored because he put up a lot of shots, and I think he hit 5 or 6 3-pointers that game, but I think he takes a lot of threes, like maybe 8, 9, 10 3-pointers a game. He takes a lot of threes. So you take enough, you're going to make them. Although he ended up shooting 50% from the free throw line, which to me is inexplicable and it's something I just can't simply understand. So the Clippers ended up winning that game. Now, the question is this. Maybe it's a bit premature, but the question we got to ask is, what should the Clippers do with Patrick Beverley in terms of moving forward? What should they do with Patrick Beverley? Because Patrick Beverley, you can't play him this series. Is this going to be the last year that Patrick Beverley ends up staying with the Clippers? Is this it? Is this going to be it? I don't know. But Patrick Beverley has not been himself. He was also another liability. Sorry to say it. He was also another liability. Kudos to Ty Lue for also playing Rajon Rondo more minutes. That was a big adjustment, a big improvement for him, for finally playing Rondo some more minutes, something we'd all been asking for. And the only person in the mainstream media that seemed to notice that point or notice the issue of why aren't you playing Rondo if you brought him there was Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman said, wait a minute. You guys go out there, you try your hardest to get Rajon Rondo. The guy's now here, and then you don't play him. Why wouldn't you play him? So kudos to them for finally playing Rajon Rondo a little bit more minutes. Good for them. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. But now we're going into game 5. And I said this, by the way. I said, if the Clippers won game 3 and game 4, all of the pressure is going to shift back over to the Mavs. Because now you're starting at 0 again. All of that work that you had done, all the work that the Dallas Mavericks had done prior to that has now become nullified. It's gone. All of the momentum is gone. And I said that if the Clippers won game 4, it was going to be very, very, very difficult for them to win more games in this series. It was going to be very difficult for them. That's what I said. Because ever since the Clippers went small, the Dallas Mavericks have not been able to make the right adjustments. They have not been able to counter the Clippers' small ball lineup. They haven't been. They're having difficulties with it. So going into tonight's game, where some people feel, oh, the Clippers are going to lose, could it happen? Absolutely could happen. But the Dallas Mavericks are going to need to make an adjustment. It's not going to be magic unless they get hot like crazy, which they've shown they can do for 2 games, or what? Let's say 8.5 quarters, because they also got hot in game 1 in the first quarter. Then they're going to have a legitimate shot at winning that game. Let's move on to the next question. We talk a lot about what Luka Doncic is going to do, what Luka Doncic is doing. Luka is doing this. Luka is doing that. Luka is doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, I have another question that I don't hear anybody bring up. What are the Dallas Mavericks going to do with Kawhi Leonard? How are they going to stop Kawhi Leonard? No one is answering this question, let alone even asking it. No one is asking this question. How are the Dallas Mavericks going to slow down Kawhi Leonard? How are they going to do it? Let me give you guys Kawhi Leonard's numbers in the first round of these playoffs. In round 1, against these same Dallas Mavericks, Kawhi Leonard is averaging 33 points per game. He's shooting 62.7% from the field, 47.6% from 3, 87.5% from the free throw line. He's getting 8.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.3 steals, and a block per game. Ladies and gentlemen, what are the Dallas Mavericks going to do to slow down Kawhi Leonard? They can ill afford Kawhi Leonard to go out there and have another 10 and 15 from the floor. They just can't. They got to be able to try to take one of their stars away. They have to be, because he has been destroying the Mavericks in a very efficient way. He's literally taken this team apart with out of this world efficiency. You would think that Kawhi Leonard if you didn't know the player, you just looked at the numbers, you would think that it was a center that was putting up these type of numbers. Maybe Joel Embiid. This is from a small forward. He has been destroying them. And this is one of the issues I think the Dallas Mavericks are having. The Dallas Mavericks guys were the 21st ranked defensive team in the NBA this season. 21st. They were the 21st ranked defense. So the question is, are they going to turn into a top 10 defense tonight? Are they going to be able to do it? Because you got to play defense. The Dallas Mavericks have proven thus far that they cannot slow down Kawhi Leonard, nor can they slow down Paul George. They just can't do it. For whatever reason, they can't slow down Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and they've just been taking advantage of them. They've just been taking advantage of them. Who are the players that they're going to put on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to try to slow them down? Because Luka is getting all of these buckets, but he's not playing defense. Somebody's going to have to start guarding one of these guys. You can't allow Kawhi Leonard to go out there and hit you up for another 36, 37 points. And all of his shots are going to the basket. And some of you may say, well, they have a 7'3" shot blocker in Kristaps Porzingis. No, they don't. Kristaps Porzingis plays like a stretch 4. He's not going to pack the paint and be a shot blocker. He's probably a good help defender, but he's not going to be blocking shots that are going at the rim. That's not his game. He can block shots, but that's not what he's there for. The Clippers are having zero resistance going to the basket. And the Mavs are going to try. They're going to have to find a way to slow down one of these two guys. Otherwise, tonight they're going to have another. They're going to have another very, very efficient night. They're going to. The next question is this: going into tonight, are the Dallas Mavericks players? Oh, okay, the sun is out now. Are the Dallas Mavericks players? Are they going to be able to continue to hit those 3-pointers at the rate at which they did in Game 1 and Game 2? The players I'm talking about, let's go through some of the Dallas Mavericks players I'm talking about. I'm talking about Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay, last game he was a plus minus was negative 18. Okay, he only had 8 points, but he had 2 3-pointers. Kristaps Porzingis was 0 for 2 from 3. Maxi Kleber was 0 of 3 from the 3. Tim Hardaway Jr. was 0 of 4. Luka Doncic shot 1 of 7 from the 3, if I'm not mistaken, from the 3-point line. Luka Doncic, if I'm not mistaken, yes. These guys need to get going. Josh Richardson, Trey Burke, these guys are going to need to get going. And the question is, given the fact that the Clippers have finally figured out what the Dallas Mavericks are doing, are they going to be able to counter that? Because some people feel like, oh, the Clippers' defense is improving. No, their personnel is improved. They've become quicker and more athletic on the perimeter. If you look at the game and you look at the Clippers switch and everything, their key defenders are always still on the perimeter. So for them to get those entry passes and all of that stuff is really hard. And at one point in the game, in Game 4, Rick Carlisle tried to make a switch. He tried to make an adjustment, but it didn't work. He brought in, who did he bring in? He brought in Boban Bogdanovic. I hope I pronounced his last name properly. He brought him in because he wanted to force the Clippers to go big again so Luka Doncic could take advantage of him. But by him doing that, it means that the same thing that they wanted to take advantage of on Zubac is the same thing that the Clippers now can do. They can put Boban on the pick and roll, and they can just blow right past him. So eventually that didn't work, and they had to take him out of the game. And they had to go back to their small lineup again. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to make some adjustments. They're going to have to make some adjustments. Now, let me talk about both teams quickly. some people are saying, well, are you saying that the Clippers is going to be a cakewalk? They're going to just win? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. I think this game 5 is a must win for both the Lakers, the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. I think whoever wins this game is going to put themselves in the driver's seat to win this series. It is a must win for both teams. It's not like as if, it's a must win for the Dallas Mavericks. No. The Dallas Mavericks can go out there and it can lose, and you still got to go back to Dallas. You still got to go back to Dallas. It's a must win for both teams. And I would even say more so for the Clippers. Here's why. If the Clippers go out there today and they beat the Dallas Mavericks, it shows me that they're beginning to develop this kind of championship killer mentality where they don't play with their food. I remember a series where Kobe Bryant was playing against the Denver Nuggets, I think in the Western Conference Finals, and he had them down. And you know what he said? The Mavs dropped a 2-0 lead before last and lost 4 straight to do. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for that, Candace. And I remember Kobe Bryant saying in a timeout in the huddle, when the Lakers were putting a beat down on the Dallas Mavericks, you know what Kobe said? You can go look the clip up. He goes, no mercy. No mercy. Keep going. No mercy. No mercy. That's what he was saying. He's like, we're beating them. Let's beat them down now. Let's completely break their spirit. And I'm gonna be curious to see if the Clippers come out and show that to me, because to me, that's the next step mentally. I want to see if they have that kind of dog in them to know that they have their opponents, they have them on the ropes, and now just to completely maul them all the way to the end. Just completely finish them off. Don't play around with them, because if the Clippers don't beat the Dallas Mavericks tonight, then you open up the door again. Oh, do you see the Clippers, when they had the opportunity to win, they didn't win. They let the Dallas Mavericks off the hook. Now you got to go back to a game 5, and look what you guys are going to be doing. You guys are not showing that killer will, and this and this and this. So for you to avoid all of those comments, go out there tonight and handle your business. Make a statement. Show these guys that you're serious. Now, let me say this about Kawhi Leonard. I get the sense that Kawhi Leonard has that killer dog in him. I truly do. I get the sense that Kawhi Leonard is one of these players that kind of, one of those players that can kind of sense the moment. And if he senses the moment, he's going to try to seize it. I don't know if Paul George is that type of player. I know Rajon Rondo is that type of player. I don't know if Marcus Morris Sr. is that type of player. But what I do know is if they see Kawhi Leonard playing with the sense of urgency, he sees that the Clippers are beating the Dallas Mavericks, I believe they're going to follow him. Because I don't think Kawhi Leonard is going to take his foot off the gas. He hasn't done it for the entire series. All he's done is attack, 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 attack. So personally, that's what I think needs to happen. That's what I think needs to happen. I think the Clippers need to come out. They need to be looking to attack. I think they need to switch early. They need to switch hard on those switches. If you're going to switch hard. Get through those picks with some kind of defensive intensity. Don't just kind of like lollygag in between those switches. I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George need to keep putting pressure on the interior defense of the Dallas Mavericks. Because remember, the Mavs, they don't play defense. They're not a very good defensive team. They're not. So I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are going to give the Clippers any real resistance going to the basket. I don't think that's going to happen. They haven't done it all series long. I'm sure if I went up there and pull out a stat for who has the most paint points between the two teams, I'm sure the Clippers have the majority of the paint points going to the basket. So they've really, really, really been taking advantage of them in the paint. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks, what they need to do to win. I think the Dallas Mavericks, going into this game, for them to have a shot, I think the Dallas Mavericks have to get hot from the three early on. They need to get hot and they need to stay hot. Preferably for the Dallas Mavericks to win this game, I think the Dallas Mavericks will need to come out and try to get an early lead on the Clippers. Try to get a lead and try to maintain the lead on the Clippers for as much as you can and try to make the Clippers play from behind. The Clippers have shown that they can play from behind, but the Dallas Mavericks have shown that they can't play from behind. They're good at playing they're good at playing with the lead, with the exception of Game 4, in which they had a lead, almost a 19-point lead in the first quarter, in which they blew away. Now, here's something else I got to say. Kawhi has the killer instinct. He would have finished the Warriors or in Toronto if Nick Nurse didn't call that. That's a very good point. Thank you for that, Cato. Yes, Kawhi Leonard does have that killer instinct, but I think it's something that they need to pay attention to. I think Paul George needs to continue to be aggressive, keep attacking the basket. I think he needs to keep attacking the basket. I expect Rajon Rondo to get more minutes. Now, let me just say this quickly. I noticed that a lot of these sports broadcasters or analysts, whatever you want to call it, I don't know how they go out there and predict scores. Oh, yeah, the Clippers are going to win 114 to 110. Yesterday, Shannon Sharp said the Phoenix Suns are going to win 100 to 96. How do y'all make these predictions? I can understand if it's football, but basketball? How do you make a prediction in basketball? It's a very hard thing to do, to make a prediction in basketball. But nevertheless, they still do it. So that's another thing that's worth paying attention to. Hey, how you doing, Larry? That's another thing worth paying attention to. I think the Clippers need to come out there with a sense of urgency, and they need to try to win this game. Because everybody is going to be everybody's going to be rooting for the Clippers to lose tonight. Everybody. People in the media are going to be rooting for the Clippers to lose because they picked against them. Laker fans are going to be rooting against the Clippers because they can't stand the Clippers to do well. They want the Lakers. If the Lakers are going to lose, let the Clippers lose. So all of us will be here, as they say, misery loves company. So the Clippers need to go out there and try to seize this moment. Now, I think the Clippers are going to win Game 5. This is just my personal opinion. I think they're going to win Game 5 unless the Dallas Mavericks have some type of new game plan that they're going to do to counter this small ball lineup. I don't see how the Dallas Mavericks are going to beat them. The Dallas Mavericks are going to have to make shots over great defense. They're just going to have to. They're going to have to make great shots over great defense. If they're going to do that, then you got to tip your hat to them and say, man, you played a good game. I don't see how they're going to do that because they're not going to be able to get the same spacing as they did in Game 2 and Game 1. And in the first quarter in the first quarter of Game 3. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to make another adjustment. They're going to have to try to pick up Kawhi Leonard. You can't let somebody shoot 60% from the field in a series. You can't. And shoot 40% from the three. You can't. The Dallas Mavericks need to play defense. They need to play defense. Otherwise, they're not going to win. It's just that simple. They're not going to win. So that's my prediction. I think the Clippers are going to win Game 5 tonight. And I think if they win Game 5, I'm going to be looking to see if they have that killer instinct in them to close out the series. Something they did not show last year. Last year, they went up 3-1 on the Denver Nuggets. They could have won that series, and they didn't. So they need to show me something. And they need to show themselves something. They need to finish off this team while you have them down. Don't play with them. And I like the fact that Kawhi Leonard said, we haven't done anything yet. Paul George seems to be saying the right thing. They haven't done anything yet. That's what you want to hear from your star players. You don't want to hear, oh, yeah, we're fine, we're beginning to click. No. You haven't done anything yet. I don't even think Kawhi Leonard is paying attention to his stat sheet. Maybe he looks at it, but I just think he's in all-out attack mode. And I think if the Clippers go out there and beat the Mavs in this series, they're going to make a lot of people look foolish because everybody wrote them off after Game 1 and 2. Just like the same way they wrote off Kawhi Leonard when they went down 0-2 to the Denver to the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh, it's over. It's over. Oh, he's out of here. He's done. It's over. You had a nice run. It's over. And it's over. It was so over that he ended up winning the NBA championship. So I hope that's the other case. Another thing worth saying while you guys are still here. let's talk about that second round series between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Brooklyn Nets. That's going to be a hell of a series because now Brooklyn gets to play against a very good team. They're going to play against a very good defensive team, and they're going to be playing against the number one offense in the NBA. I don't think some people know that the Milwaukee Bucks were the number one offense in the NBA last season. So they're going to be playing against a very, 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 very good team. It's not the Boston Celtics anymore. And I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to have a good test. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting second-round matchups. And it's something I cannot wait to see. I think it's going to be disappointing if the Lakers get knocked out in round one. It's going to be a disappointment. It's going to be a disappointment because we don't get to see the Lakers and the Clippers in any confrontation. But I will say this, though. If the Lakers do lose round one to the Phoenix Suns, we got to throw away this narrative that the Clippers were dodging the Lakers. You can't lose in round one and then say that the Clippers were dodging the Lakers. You can't do that. You can't. How are they going to be dodging the team to get knocked out in the first round? You can't say that. So the Lakers need to come back and try to find a way to win. They need to. Because at the end of this series, if the Lakers lose, nobody's going to look at LeBron James. They're going to say he's 36 years old. What do you expect from him? And to a certain degree, you got a point. They're going to be looking at Anthony Davis, though. And that's why I was just astonished when people are saying, oh, AD, the Lakers. And I'm like, have you been watching Laker games this season? Have you been looking at Anthony Davis's production? All of his numbers are down. All of his numbers are down across the board. That should have been a cause for pause. But nevertheless, oh, AD, he's going to beat everybody. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They're going to beat down and da-da-da-da-da. Now, some people may say, well, the Lakers did beat the Suns in one of those games with AD. Well, some people could say the Suns lost that game, one of those games because Chris Paul was injured. There's stories on both sides. But for me, talking about the Clippers tonight, as Kawhi Leonard and these guys said, it's not over. They need to go out there and make sure that they win this game. Because I don't think it's going to be easy. The Dallas Mavericks are going to come out there and they're going to be attacking the Clippers and they're going to attack. I think if the Clippers can keep them down, like going into the half, I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to throw in the towel. That's what I think. I don't think they're mentally tough enough to keep fighting. Personally, I don't think so. Those are my thoughts and opinions, and that's what I think is going to happen. Again, for some of the new people that are in here, again, if you guys want to live chat during the playoffs, especially for tonight's game, if you guys want to live chat, we created Dreamers Pro Max for people like that. So if you guys want to live chat, Marco's going to post that in the comment section where you can go and sign up. There you can live chat and also talk about the game before, after, and all these other things on the platform we created. You can get 7 days of access. So Marco's going to post that in the description, in the comment box below. So you guys can definitely check that out and live chat during the game. So you can do that tonight. You can sign up and get 7 days of access. So you guys can live chat with us during this game tonight. Because you don't want to miss this game. And if the Clippers win this game, I already said after they won game 4, the Clippers will never lose again in this series. I already said that. But if they win this game, all of the pressure's on the Mavs. But I'm still going to be looking at the Clippers to see if they have that mental toughness and that assassin mentality in them to go out there and finish off their opponents when they have them down. I'm going to be waiting to see that. I don't want to see if they have any mental lapses. Like they go out there, win tonight, and then lose the next game on whatever it is, Friday or Saturday, whenever it is they play. Those are just my opinions. So once again, guys, thank you guys again for being part of this live. We really appreciate that. Thank you all of you guys for being out here. We appreciate that. So again, tomorrow we're going to do a reaction to that game. No matter what happens, whether the Clippers win or lose, we're going to do a reaction. Also, we got another video coming out on the channel later on today. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you guys go ahead and check out that video. We're going to post it later on today after this live comes out. So be on the lookout for that. Once again, thank you guys. Thank you all for the new people that joined us during this live. We really appreciate that. And we definitely catch you guys on the next episode. Have a good one. Have a good one. Peace.